but just hang tight for a second. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Just a couple more minutes and we'll let everybody settle in. We looks like we got a couple more coming in. Ricky, thanks for joining. Appreciate that. There's Dan joining us. Thank you. And Jonathan and Jessica, thank you. And we'll allow for introductions here in a second, but appreciate everybody taking a little bit of time this morning to learn about our multifamily charger program. So let's just give a couple more minutes while everybody gets settled in. Morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning to yourself.
Good, thank you. Yeah, just we'll give everybody a couple minutes to settle in here. I think whenever we do a Zoom meeting or our new meeting, everybody has to update whatever their video profile is. So we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get logged in here. All right, everybody, we'll just kind of get started here. And this is all recorded, so everybody will be able to go back to check the recordings and watch it as we get done and as we learn more. But I'll have can kind of kick things off here, and we'll get started with this BidPak Multifamily EV Charger Program that I'm super excited about and really excited about working with all these contractors out there to teach them and work with them to get them comfortable in this EV charging world, especially in the multifamily space. So,
Well, great. Thanks, Kevin. And good morning, everyone. I'm Ken Wood, CEO of BidPak, and welcome to our kickoff of our multifamily charger training program. I know we've got some BidPak subscribers out there, so special hi to you guys. And if anyone is new to BidPak, well, we're just happy to have you here. So I'm just going to provide a couple of quick remarks, and then we're going to get right into the material. Just started in collaboration with a group of expert partners. We've developed this comprehensive program you're about to see to help all of our BidPak users out there to market, sell, design, install, commission EV chargers in this multifamily property, which is a fascinating market segment, actually. All the information and tools that you guys need to be successful, we're going to try to provide. A lot of you probably know this market, multifamily EV charging, is exploding. And for really two reasons. So one, the obvious one, electrical vehicles are rapidly becoming a big piece of the entire car market. In the next couple of years, EVs are projected to be about 30-40% of all new car sales. And that's a lot of new vehicles coming on board. But coupled with that, that makes this market so attractive at this moment is multifamily properties are just woefully behind the times here. They're just kind of now fully recognizing that they better damn well begin to implement charging infrastructure at their properties, or they're going to start losing tenants. There's 45 million, I think, renters out there, renting families around the country, and a lot of them are looking for convenient charging solutions, and almost everyone wants to charge at home. So that's just a fact. So we think the time is really right to strike this market. It's hot. Property owners seemingly are now motivated, and we'll give a little more insight into that in just a moment. So today and going forward, the purpose of our training is really to help you become proficient in this whole multifamily charger market quickly and provide you with know-how and strategies that will help you succeed. I think our program offers you guys a wealth of benefits, creating new revenue streams, unlocking maybe some long-term maintenance contracts. Additionally, you get your foot in the door with some of this EV work. Next thing you know, you can start grabbing other electrical contracting work from the EV property. I mean, you're on site. The next thing that the guy's asking you to take a look at the faulty receptacle in unit 103. So good opportunity to get engaged with these folks. Just wanted to quickly give you an intro to some of the folks here. So I think a lot of you know Kevin. Kevin Butch, our Chief Product Officer, and BidPak is really Kevin's creation. Kevin has 25 years experience in the field, and BidPak really developed out of his frustrations at times in dealing with obstacles on the job. And he went and created BidPak to alleviate a lot of those concerns and did a great job on that. In addition, Kevin has a lot of experience in the whole EV charging market. He worked at ChargePoint for a number of years. I think the title, Kevin, was the Multifamily National Program Director, really guiding all of ChargePoint's efforts in this particular market segment. I think they amassed like 26 million of sales in charging stations in just a few years. So that experience and in-depth knowledge is just absolutely of a critical benefit to our program as we roll out. And Janelle Knight is here. Janelle is I call Janelle our director of everything here. She's technically our director of operations, but she wears about 10 different hats. I think maybe the most important of which is customer support. Janelle is just instrumental in all of our onboarding and our ongoing support efforts, and she can answer just about any kind of question you throw at her. And one of the things we pride ourselves at BidPak is the level and quality of product support we provide our subscribers. And that's in large measure attributable to Janelle's passion for excellence. Terrific resource for this multifamily program we're launching and for BidPak in general. So we're going to start to go through the material here. Today's somewhat introductory, but we are going to start getting into some details and even throwing out some sales tips at you today. And we'll get much more in depth of that in the upcoming sessions, and much more detailed on how to design. And we've got some really nice information to provide to you to make you really competitive in this market area. Well, that's enough. Let's get into it, Kevin.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ken. And yeah, just a little bit of what we're going to be covering today is we're just going to go through the introduction of what we're doing, which Ken just kind of did, who the players are. We've had the opportunity to partner with some of the top manufacturers to put this program together. And key component is our software that allows us the BidPak software, which allows us to design and estimate these projects. But also we're working with one of the industry largest software providers for the charging stations as well, which allows for absolute competitive advantage in this charging space when we get into that. And we'll get into the details of that. We're going to cover just a little bit about understanding EV charging stations themselves, a little bit of 101 type coverage there. And then we're going to show you kind of how to use BidPak to design a project. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the future charging that's happening, some of the future training sessions that we'll have available. So first, we'll just kind of dive into, so Ken touched on it. The EV charging space in the multifamily is critical right now. And as he alluded, my time at ChargePoint was fascinating. And I was able to just dive deep into this EV charging world and understand really what's going on inside this space. And we're really at an opportunity to capitalize on that as an electrical contractor. And because right now the multifamily space is kind of untapped, and we're not seeing enough chargers being installed there. And there's two reasons for that. The approach is a little bit off message to how they're working inside the multifamily places. And honestly, there's not enough electrical contractors that are super comfortable with EV charging as an amenity or as a product that they can sell and as they can bring to the table, because there is some nuances to EV charging that I really want to dive into and make sure that you guys fully understand or comfortable with. But just to top it off, some of the key things that we have to focus on is that there's some massive key benefits to the property owners with providing EV charging to their properties. So as the renters are now making decisions on, I'm not going to rent at that place if they don't provide EV charging for myself. It's now becoming a must-have amenity, and they really are. These properties are really trying to figure this out, and we're at that place where the EV charging space has settled down a little bit, where people are comfortable with adding it. And now they're just really looking at what the best way of doing it with it and who they can partner with to put these in. Competition inside this space inside multifamily space is very intense, and making sure that these multifamily properties have the amenities that will attract the tenants and retain those tenants. That's important to these multifamily properties. So the competition out there amongst residents and amongst these multifamily places is huge. And now, as the EV charging increases in demands, the multifamily properties are really, finding themselves in a position that they have to put this in, and they're really trying to search out who is the best person in my area, in my town, that can help me put this in, and then most importantly, who can support that afterwards. And so, so that's where we're just going to position yourselves, and that's where we're really going to focus on in this program is to position you guys in a great spot where you understand EV charging. You can go tackle multifamily properties in your area, and then you're going to be able to support and maintain those stations as well. So, a couple other nuances inside of this, and we'll walk through on how to sell this into there. But really, multifamily properties are always trying to demonstrate their sustainability practices and enhancement, that and just enhances their brand and their reputation inside the space. So they're always looking for they wanted to do the LED retrofits when that was a key thing, and now they're trying to put EV charging in, and they're always looking at energy savings and what the next thing on the marketplace is to demonstrate their sustainability and demonstrate that they're always looking for the new stuff. Adding EV charging really, it's an effective marketing strategy also for these properties. So, they're always looking for it. So they can once they get done with it, they can start advertising that they have EV charging and it's available at their space, so they can attract those better residents. So those are just some of the key things that we're talking about, and that the multifamily properties are thinking about, and that are really important to them when they are looking at and adding EV charging to their properties. Most like one of the key components also is this really does produce a new revenue stream for them as well. And as we get deeper down into the training, we'll break down exactly how the revenue comes in from these stations, and how our software and how we can really design and implement a system that doesn't take a whole lot of capital expenditure and can actually generate revenue for these properties. And then because they can attract a higher tenant, attract more tenants and have a better retention rate, they actually get a capitalize on some of the NOI. So we'll break that down into how EV charging actually acts as a revenue stream to them as well, which makes the return on investment really attractive for these multifamily properties. And that's one of the key things that they're looking for as well. If they're going to spend a certain amount of dollar points, they want to know how much revenue or how much that's going to benefit the property, and how how that's going to give their return on investment. That's what all these multifamily properties are looking for and talking about. And how we're going to do that is there's some absolute definite strategic strategies, I guess that is what it would be. So there's some great ways that I've learned and that we've done to implement EV charging. And it's not just throwing a whole bunch of ports at the wall and hoping that they work. It's really taking an effect of asking that charging station, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? Like, what are we trying to do in that space? So there is a lot of thought that goes into how and where and what we want to do with that charging station rather than just putting it in and covering every single station. So implementing a strategy of how we want to approach that property and how we want to start and then grow with that property is really a good key for you guys as the installer, for the properties themselves, and for the drivers as well. So we want to start with a strategy. We want to make sure that we're thinking about the long-term play in this. And rather than just throwing a whole bunch of ports, we want to kind of think about growing as the EV charging world grows as well. So all that stuff it will be covered, and we'll break that down, and we'll give you the exact strategies of how to do that and all the tools that you need to go sell that into the space. So Kim kind of touched on this a little bit with BidPak and the players that are involved in the space here. And we truly have an opportunity, I think, as a group, as BidPak, we're a software provider. So as Ken said, I was an electrician for 25 years. In my career, I actually got into multifamily building. It grew into that space, and I got most of my business was in these 50 to 25 unit apartment buildings where we were doing the design build work. And that's where kind of BidPak was birthed from, so that I could do the design work and I could do all the procurement and I could do everything inside of one platform for those properties. And then I was approached by ChargePoint through a recruiter to come join ChargePoint, and I really got excited about that space because the EV charging space was so new at that pace that it really was an opportunity for me to learn EV charging and just dive into that space and really understand that space. And so I took the role with ChargePoint and started as just an account executive covering the Northwest for commercial sales, but then got morphed into what we called the national sales director for multifamily, where I was in charge of selling EV charging stations in the multifamily. So I really do understand this space, and it's cool. And so with that, we were able to partner with a software provider called Monta. And so Monta is going to be able to provide all the software that's required to run these stations. Very easy to use, but every single one of these charging stations has to have a software attached to it. So it has to have the capabilities of billing. It has to have capabilities of power management. So we can manage the power that goes to each one of the stations. So we really can't control how many amps those stations are going to display, to dispense to the vehicle at any one point in time. And so Monta allows that to happen. It allows scheduling, it allows software, so it's the full back end that runs the charging stations. For us as BidPak, we're going to help you with that. You guys will have some visibility into those charging stations that you guys install as well. And the multifamily property will be able to control and see those charging stations as well. And then we've also partnered with all the leading manufacturers. So inside the space, there's hundreds of EV charging manufacturers that are coming up, just kind of like what I saw with LED lighting manufacturers when the LEDs came out. All of a sudden, there was hundreds of LED manufacturers, but then some of them became reliable and the cream of the crop. So we've kind of been able to partner with companies like Wallbox, Autel, and Zeal to provide very cost-effective charging stations for you that I trust now, that I know are reliable, and that you can trust to install inside your customers' properties as well. So that's kind of
One quick word on Monta, guys. We have entered into a long-term relationship with Monta. They are a terrific company. We scoured the marketplace and we didn't see anything that came close to what they can provide. You as contractors are going to love them. And we're going to get into what Monta does much more detail in subsequent training sessions, but you're going to love what they do. They've got onboard diagnostics. They can tell you when things are running, when they're not running, fault diagnosis. They collect maintenance fees for your maintenance contracts, which you can tap into anytime you want to withdraw the funds. It's a really, really cool package of capability they provide.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was game changing when I reviewed that, and the opportunity we have with them is going to be able to provide the lowest price per point on the marketplace the way that we're doing this, and so it's a huge competitive advantage for you, the contractor, and for the building opportunity. So very excited about the partnership that we have with Monta. So just kind of to step back a second really quick and just talk about EV charging. And I know all of us do it and we understand it, but I just want to kind of level set, make sure that we all understand the basics. What a level 1 is, a level 2 is, and a level 3 charging station is. And I just want to get it out there just to make sure that we all are on the same page there. So, a level 1 charging station actually isn't a charging station. A level 1 is a duplex receptacle, a 20 amp, 120 volt duplex receptacle that your vehicle charger can plug into. So that's your level 1 charging station. We can see those at home sometimes, multifamily properties and some workplaces, but not very common in workplaces. The upside of that is very cheap to install. It's a NEMA 1520 or just a duplex receptacle. But the problem is that you only get 3 to 5 miles worth of charge per hour on that. So very, very slow charging. So inside of a 10-hour period, you're only going to get 30 miles per charge. And that's barely enough to substantiate daily driving. So not the best reliable source to provide for everyday EV driving and EV charging. Then we step into the level 2 chargers. That's what we call our AC charging stations. Our AC charging stations really means that we're taking AC power, we're running it through the vehicle, and we're putting AC power into the vehicle, and then the vehicle's onboard inverter is inverting that AC power to DC to charge the battery. So then the level 2 charging stations, that's what we're dealing with, where it's what we're focusing on is the level 2 charging stations. So we can, we'll see amperages from 16 to 60 amp average, amperages inside of that space. They have some that are 80 amp or 100 amp level 2 charging stations, but honestly, the vehicles themselves, the onboard inverters can't handle that many amperage, so it's just not a very user-friendly charging station to use with. What I like to see is a 60 amp charging station at 240 or 208 volts if it's 3-phase power or single phase power. But that allows for 48 amps of charging to the vehicle. And that's like the sweet spot to maximize the circuit and to maximize the charging stations. And then we'll see charging speeds from 40 to 50 miles per hour at that rate, and that covers almost every vehicle that's out there. And then one of the things there's 2 different types of ports that plug into the vehicle. It's the J1772, which is your standard port that will plug into the vehicle, or you call it the Tesla port or the NACS, which is the North America Charging Standard port. And that's the other charging port that plugs into the vehicle. Tesla decided to make their own port when they started making vehicles. And then everybody else in the level 2 space made the J1772. So they call it the NACS charger. They call that the Tesla charger. But every single vehicle can charge on a level 2 charging station with the 1772 charger. And if you do have a Tesla, you just have an adapter that plugs in. So it's super easy. And then we get into the level 3 charging stations. And level 3 charging stations are what you see on the corridor driveways, DC fast chargers, and that stuff. And that's where those are designed to put 200, 300 miles on your car inside of 20 to 30 minutes. And the biggest difference there is that we're taking the AC power, and on the DC charging stations, you're now putting the inverter is part of the station. So now we're taking the AC power and we're inverting that to the DC power at the station side of it. So now we're just pouring DC power directly onto the vehicle. And by doing that, we're bypassing the vehicle's inverter. So then we're able to really charge that battery fast. And that's, so that's the DC fast charger. And that's what you see on the corridors. That's what you see in the highways. That's what you use on the road trip when you need to pull off to go get a bite to eat, and you need to fill your car back up in 20, 30 minutes to get to your 80, 90% charge. So that's kind of the three different levels of charging stations that we deal with. The key takeaway is that every charging station that you see out there, level 2 or level 3, has to have a software that runs that charging station. That software is what initiates a charging session. That software is what allows for the charger to start and to start dispensing energy into your vehicle. And then that software also communicates with that vehicle. And so what happens when you plug the charger in is the charging station is actually reading the vehicle itself, and it's adjusting the amount of ampacity that the charger is releasing to match the battery that's on that vehicle. So they tie up and they communicate to each other. And so one of the biggest things that you have to have when you're looking at the hardware side and the software side is that all that stuff works together. So we have a protocol called OCP, which is Open Charge Point Protocol, which means that the hardware and the software will talk to each other. And some companies will have a proprietary software for their proprietary hardware, like ChargePoint. ChargePoint has hardware and software that's proprietary that you can't break the two apart. But other companies like Zeal, Autel, Wallbox, they all have open charge point protocol, so you can use any third-party software to control those stations. And that's really important to manage those stations. And when you're building a business that has multiple chargers all over the place, you really want to not be stuck with a charger and a manufacturer and a software that is locked into place. And then all of those softwares have a subscription model. It's literally every one of them has a monthly charge per port, and they range from $20 a month to $35 a month per port. So as you can see, the software side of it gets expensive sometimes for the property owners when they get to 10, 12, 14, 20 ports and they're paying $35 a month per port. That adds up on the software fees for the property as well. So so managing that software expense is critical on our sales pitch. So really, when you're thinking about the chargers itself, it's finding the right charging hardware for the property, and then really asking that what are we asking that charger to do? Are we asking that charger to charge the vehicle overnight when it's parking all day long, or are we asking that charger to charge this vehicle inside of 20 minutes when they're on a road trip? And those key decisions really make a decision when you're thinking about the infrastructure we're putting in, and we're thinking about the available power inside of a building, and we can think, can we share power amongst 10 chargers? Can we actually, can a 60 amp circuit really handle 8 charging stations and provide enough charging for one vehicle? The answer to that is yes, and we're going to show you how we can do that and how that works as we develop through this charging trainings and that. But yeah, that's just kind of the EV charging itself. And Ken, I'm gonna, if you have anything to add, I'm just gonna get into kind of BidPak and how we can use BidPak for a second. But Ken, if you have anything to say, that'd be great.
Well, so what's coming up is some exciting stuff in the next several training sessions, as Kevin alluded to there. So we are going to show how we can power share, accommodate multiple vehicles off a single charger, off a single circuit. It's some really nifty design kinds of things that I think you guys are going to really like. You're going to go out there on your first site visit with your property owner with your iPad and your BidPak opened up, and you're going to sit there and design a very, very efficient design in front of his eyes. We think no one's going to touch you price-wise. So good stuff coming up.
Yeah, it did. Like in my time with ChargePoint, I was really, really trying to work hard with the electrical contractors to teach, because without the contractors, we can't install this stuff. Like, I don't care who you are. you have to be a licensed contractor. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to be the guys installing this stuff. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of walk through a basic. This is what you see at a parking garage, a basic tower style apartment building, and that. So what you're seeing here is the door into the electrical room, and BidPak allows you to during your site walk, you'll be able to just snap this photo, and you'll be able to bring this right into BidPak and do this design work right when you're on site with the customer during your site walk. So this is a project that I actually completed over in Seattle area. And this was the electrical room that walks into the door. So you walk into the electrical room, and there's actually an EV charging panel that was designed for this space. So this is the house panel, and they had plenty of power inside of there to add the EV chargers for this space. So we just took a picture of that and you upload. So there's your panel, 400 amp normal bolt-on breaker panel. So when I'm looking at designing this, I'm just going to using BidPak. I'm going to work everything inside of a BidPak into a work package. So I kind of started with the service and distribution, and then I'm going to walk through the branch circuits, and then we're going to do the EV charging stations, and then we'll add some permits and design fees just to make sure that everything's covered in this space. But very simple. If you build the work packages this way, and all this stuff is templated, so it's all very easy to find and very easy to work inside the package. So I'm just going to add an assembly for this. I'm just going to add the 60 amp two pole breaker. This is a CH breaker, and that just pulls right into the platform. And I'm just going to drop that right into the spot where it would go. I am going to put two 60 amp circuits on this space because I'm going to run two 60 amp circuits out to the charging stations. And we'll talk a little bit about why we run two 60 amp circuits. One, it's the cheapest price per foot to accommodate the most charging stations. So in a 1 inch conduit, we can easily run two 60 amp circuits. And so I just grab a 1 inch conduit with two 60 amp circuits. I'm going to place that there. And as I'm designing this, if you guys aren't familiar with BidPak and how BidPak works, inside of this, what we call a smart symbol is all the materials and everything that's required to install that piece of conduit. So inside that we have the assembly name. It's a 1 inch EMT with set screw fittings. I'm putting two 60 amp, 208 or 240 volt circuits inside this panel. And so I get my number 6 wire, black, 24 feet of black wire, and then 12 feet of blue and red. Just because it's 3-phase, we're going to use black and red. We get a 1-hole strap, we get the conduit, we get the fittings, we get the ground wire, and then I have a strut strap and a concrete anchor in there for every 10 feet. So that just represents 10 feet of the conduit. And as you're designing this, you're getting your labor and you're getting your contract price right there. So then as I'm walking through there, I'm looking at the space. And now we have to come out of this room. So I'm going to put some more conduit up in the ceiling. We're just counting the footage now of how much conduit we need to run across this area. And then we come back out of the electrical room. And really, we're going to come and we're going to run the conduit across the ceiling here. So I'm just going to add a little bit more conduit and make sure I got plenty of footage to do that. So just 10, 20, 30 feet there. And I'm just going to come around the corner. And that just, that makes sure I have the conduit very easy to deal with and very easy to get across the top of the building to get over to the parking stalls that we're going to put at. So they wanted to electrify these 1, 2, 3, 4 parking stalls into this. So then, I came around this corner with the branch circuit. So I'm still just going to add a little bit more conduit as I come around the branch circuit. And we're just going to put some conduit across each one of these parking stalls to show where these are going to go at. So very easy to make sure I got all the conduit that's running across there. And now, yeah, like I said, they wanted to electrify these 1, 2, 3, 4 stalls. Now I'm going to go into the EV charging space, to the charging stations, and I'm just going to select my wall box Pulsar start charger. So we're going to add the charger to the wall, and we'll just add that right. I like to put them just on the offside of that. So we'll put one there, we'll put one there, and we'll put one just right there, and we'll put one over in the corner. And then each one of these is just going to Now out of this conduit box, we're going to put a junction box in between there, and then we'll just drop a 3/4 inch conduit out of there to pick up that charging station. So now back to the branch circuit side, I'm just going to grab a 6x6. I do like to use a little 6x6 conduit. It just allows for a little bit more space with the number 6 wires, especially having 2 branch circuits in there. And we'll just put that into there. And then on the branch circuit side, I'm going to grab a 3/4 inch set screw with one 60 amp drop. I'm only going to grab one 60 amp circuit to drop that down into the charging station. So out of that box, I'm going to drop that charging station out of there. And then I'm going to make it whip over to there so it looks like it's all connected and looks good. But as you can see, I'm bidding this and I'm designing this and we're showing how this all goes together just this quickly out of each one of these drops in this charging station. And we're doing this during our site walk with the customer so that one, they kind of get to see where these charging stations are going to live on their building. Get off of there. It gets a little bit sticky when I'm always doing a Zoom call. But, so quickly you're adding the drops and you're adding drops. So all that stuff is connected. We'll put that junction box over there. And basically your charging your chargers are designed at this point and you're all done. I actually don't need that one over there, so I'm just going to get rid of that. But so you can see quickly inside of a couple minutes we created a $15,000 project for the customer, and we're able to provide 4 charging stations for that customer. And as we talk about power management and charging stations, I'm going to show you that 4 charging ports can handle almost 32 vehicles with proper management and proper scheduling. So realistically, we just took care of the charging for that entire building, and property would be very, very happy with something like that. So the way BidPak also works is that, that's going to come in and that's just going to produce your takeoff for you. So it itemizes what you have with you. We can add permit fees. Let's just add a permit fee really quick while I'm on there. So you can add your permit fee here just to make sure your permits are taken care of. And different jurisdictions have different permits rates, but it's about $250 for a permit. But so as you're doing that also produces your proposal for you. So right there, your proposal's all put together and organized for you by your work packages, and starts to show you've got your 260 amp circuits, you got 4 junction boxes, it's all taken care of. And it also produces a set of drawings for you that is based on those pictures. So now they get to see what your drawings look like and how it comes together. But what's most important, so now when you submit that over, that proposal is all taken care of and ready to go for you. So when you're doing the site walk, you can have your whole design, your whole proposal done and submit it to the customer within inside of 15, 20 minutes and make sure you got everything covered and make sure that you're there. That allows them to make decisions so much faster, and it allows you to get in and out of these site walks and out of these designs so quick that that you can just go to the next one, and then we can follow up with those to make sure that everything's good. But then the next thing about BidPak that is very powerful and is great is that all of that material that we used for the design automatically comes into your procurement side. So now all that material that was used in that design is all broken down into a purchasable bill of materials that allows you to submit this. As soon as the order comes in, you just release this material, have it drop shipped to the site, and then your installation crews will just show up and just do the installation. And we work with every distributor out there in the US. So you just select your distributor that you use, and then this will produce a bill of materials that is easily sent right to your distributor. So if you just look at this, and then you just email this over to your distributor, and he'll prepare that material for you, and he can just send that right to the job site when that project's scheduled to be installed. And then obviously, With that, BidPak also allows you to invoice directly out of the platform, so you can create an invoice for the down payment, for the progress payments, and the final payment for that project as well. And then BidPak also syncs with your QuickBooks. If you're not already a BidPak user, you can get QuickBooks to sync with your QuickBooks to handle your financial side of it. But through the platform, we can allow payments, and you can collect and you can produce your invoice for that. So that's kind of the overall view of using BidPak to design these projects, and then the power of that. And then in addition to that, with the multifamily program, we're here to assist you doing the estimating work when you need to. So if you get into a complicated situation, we're always here to assist you with that estimate to make sure that you got everything covered. If it gets complicated on some trenching or some different scope of work that's out there that's available. And then with that as well, we're here to assist with some incentive programs, product selection. If you get into a point where they don't like the wall box or they don't like something, then we can assist with what charging station to use with. But truly, with this program, we're here to assist you in the whole process, from setting you up for success with introducing you to properties. We have an extensive list of all the properties already put together, so we'll give you properties with the right contacts, and then all the support to get you into that as well, into selling that. So some of the future stuff that's coming up with in the training that's put together is really coming up with the objective and combining all this information into an effective package that you can go promote yourself as a trained, prepared EV charging contractor that's ready to take care of these multifamily properties. And our approach here is really to assist you in the selling efforts. Like you're the guy who's on the streets, who can dispatch a truck, who can be there, who can do the installations, and then we're here to help you throughout the entire process. So we really want to be your partner in this, and we can help you with the design side. We can jump on any phone calls to help with the sales process when we get into talking to a property manager, or maybe we get into an asset manager. But yeah, so really what I found with inside the EV charging space is that the sales process is no different than what we do on a service call or on our normal days. We engage with the customer, we kind of find out what they're looking for, and then we find the solution that fits their requirements, and then we execute. And the best thing about contractors is that we can execute. And that's the piece that is so valuable to these multifamily properties, is that you're the one who's the face of the project. You're the one who's there selling the project. You have the knowledge and the ability to do it, and you have the skill set to execute it, to install, to make sure that infrastructure is taken care of correctly, and we'll be able to stick with the process. So Ken, I'll let you talk about some of the stuff that's coming up, and talk about some of the future training.
Yeah, so great. As Kevin said, look, we want to make you guys successful, and believe me, we understand that most of you are really good at sales. Hell, you've built your businesses, you're successful, and we're not trying to recreate anything that you're very comfortable with. But a lot of the things we have to pass along, kind of shortcuts. They're market specific kinds of things that we've uncovered, researched, talked extensively with other folks in this marketplace about. Hopefully, it provides you with shortcut sales methods to get into your customer and move things along quickly. So we think we've got some real competitive advantages to offer you coming up, especially on the design side. In other words, the challenge here: how do you create a really, really good, efficient design, gets the job done, and creates a compelling proposal for your multifamily customer? I mean, that's the key. And we got some very good material coming up on showing you how to do that. Sales tips. And by the way, we've generated a lot of sales material, sales and marketing material that will be available to you if you so choose to use it. Things like email flyers that you can send out. You can bring them with your company and use those as an entrance into your customer base. Some suggested phone scripts, if that's of assistance to some of you. Again, this is we're not trying to tell you how to do your business, but sometimes these things are helpful and expedient. And if we can shortcut the process for you, that's what we're trying to do. So all of that coming up in subsequent training sessions. And that's what we'll be getting really into the meat of a lot of this. By the way, one of the things we're really going to show you too, Kevin alluded to it in the previous slide. One of the things that can really distinguish a project with a multifamily owner is if you can demonstrate to them how this becomes a revenue generator for them. There's a lot of system designs going on in the EV charging world that make it impossible to make money, to have a positive net operating income effect, because the designs are so cumbersome. They've got overhead costs associated with them, lots of software license costs you just can't make any money at. And we're going to show you how you can create and present to your customer economic models that make sense. In other words, you start with a very efficient design, you maximize charger utilization, and you show him how he can make money. Not just covering his costs, not just covering electricity and maintenance costs, but actually throwing some positive dollars into his net operating income bucket. And that's, so you want to talk about getting a property owner excited, solving a problem for him and showing him how he can make money doing it at the same time. That's really good shit.
So, just a little bit of what's next. We're at, sign up for BidPak's, subscribe, become a BidPak's subscriber, and then all of this training and all this assistance is all there and available for you. And then we can assist, we can jump in and start helping you design. We can introduce you to properties. We can get you set up in the system, and we can truly become your partner to start to get you moving into that multifamily space, especially in the EV charging space. And this, it's just a huge opportunity. Obviously, you can use BidPak for anything else inside your business, residential projects, residential EV charging stations, the rest of everything else. And then, we're going to continue this multifamily training. We're going to break down all those steps. We're going to break down the financial models. We'll break down the software. We'll break down everything about the charging stations. We'll break that down into you. And then also, with a full subscription, you can use BidPak Design Services to help estimate these projects. So if you do get a bunch of projects, maybe you get a portfolio and you get spread a little bit too thin, we can jump in and we can help you design and estimate these projects for you. And so we really become your partner in this. And I really feel like that is the key to success for you as a contractor, but also to get charging stations installed in these multifamily properties. And so that's kind of the conclusion of phase one. We are going to open this up. We got a couple minutes left, and thank you guys all for participating and joining. But I do want to hear from you guys some of your thoughts and some Q&A and some questions. So if you have any questions at all, please unmute yourself and ask these questions, and let's open the conversation. You can also send a chat if you want to as well, and we can see the chat and respond to any questions that way as well.
And while people are maybe thinking about, and maybe while people are thinking about some questions that I haven't said anything yet. So Janelle here, and we're really passionate about being able to help you guys on all the levels, but also have worked diligently to make sure that things are streamlined and obvious, and the EV charger stuff. And there's too many middlemen, and we're your partner. We're not the middleman. We're moving a lot of that piece for you. And Kevin's knowledge over the years has grown tremendously. And he's, like Ken said at the beginning, $26 million in EV charging for multifamilies is an incredible win, because those jobs typically were way complicated, and he really helped during his time at ChargePoint streamline that and genuinely make things run more smoothly and reduce the full upfront expense for those multifamily properties.
If anyone does have questions, feel free to get back to us offline if you'd like. Give us a ring, email, whatever you'd like. Feedback on this, questions, by all means, reach out and certainly be responsive.
Yeah, we're here, and we're here to support you, and we're here to help you grow your business into this space and pass this space if possible.
And our hope too, obviously, is that, you know, you are going to be here with us for the consecutive trainings, and that's where we really dive into why the strategy that we're offering here is a winning solution and how it's going to help make a impact on your business. And we'll be offering multiple times like we did this time so that you can hopefully join live. You know, the benefit of joining live with us is this Q&A time as you have real solutions and, you know, issues that you run into. We want to be there for that.
No questions. Look, thank you guys for your time and patience. Hope you found it informative and entertaining.
Yeah.
And hope we continue on with all of you.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The record